Hey there, seekers of truth and alignment. Before we crack open the ancient secrets of the Fourth Hermetic Law, I've got something powerful waiting for you. Subscribe now for just $4.99 a month and instantly unlock the ancient rhythms that govern your life, energy, and destiny. Our full Natural Laws Companion Guide, 10 Ways to Apply the Law of Polarity in Daily Life. A bonus guide packed with real-world ways to harness this universal force. Plus, the full script of today's episode, so you can return, study, and integrate at your own pace. You'll find the link in the description and in the bio under LevelUp Inner Circle. Subscribe now and align with the deeper rhythm. Now, let's open the scroll. Let's decode the paradox that holds opposites in its hand and dares us to choose both instead of either. Everything is dual, everything has poles, everything has its pair of opposites. The Kabbalion. From the dawn of time, we have lived between the poles, day and night, love and loss, breath and stillness. Every culture that ever looked to the sky and asked, why, eventually arrived at the same answer. Duality is not division. It is design. The ancient Hermeticists taught this plainly. All manifested things have two sides, two aspects, two poles. They called it the Law of Polarity. But make no mistake, this is not about balance. This is about transcendence through tension. The Taoists saw it in the swirl of yin and yang, dancing, never static. The Egyptians placed Maat and Isfet, order and chaos, as cosmic regulators. The Greeks wrote of Apollo and Dionysus, reason and rapture, pulling the soul toward harmony through contradiction. In modern terms, you are the bridge. The tension between opposites isn't your enemy, it's your initiation. At its core, the Law of Polarity states, everything is dual, everything contains its opposite. It's a truth so simple, most people miss its power. Light and dark, success and failure, pleasure and pain. Every experience you've ever had is only knowable because of the contrast behind it. But here's the Hermetic twist. These opposites aren't enemies. They are the same thing, expressed at different frequencies, different degrees, different ends of the same spectrum. Let's break that down. Think of temperature. Cold isn't the opposite of heat in the way black is the opposite of white. Cold is simply a reduction of heat. They're not two separate forces fighting for control. They are variations of the same essence. You can't say, where does cold begin and heat end? Because that point is relative. The shift is gradual, continuous. Apply that to emotions. Love and hate? Not truly separate. They are passionate emotional investments toward another being. The real opposite of love isn't hate, it's indifference. Apathy. That's when energy vanishes. This law invites you to see that duality is not division, it is differentiation. And with awareness, you can move fluidly across the scale of any experience. Without sadness, joy has no definition. Without confusion, clarity wouldn't shine so bright. Without loss, you'd never know what it means to truly cherish something. We need contrast to understand life. But more than that, we need contrast to master it. The Law of Polarity isn't just descriptive, it's instructive. It teaches you to ask, and where am I on this spectrum right now? What would the opposite feel like? How can I move toward it without resistance? Because here's the golden secret. If you can locate yourself on the scale, you can shift your position. This is the key to emotional sovereignty. Spiritual maturity. Manifestation mastery. You are not trapped in despair. You are simply near one end of the joy-sorrow spectrum. You are not stuck in scarcity, you are at a point on the wealth-lack scale. And with this awareness, you can transmute, not by force, but by frequency. Because polarity is not fixed, it flows, and so can you. The ancients whispered it in allegory. Today, science confirms it in data. In psychology, Carl Jung knew that we are not good or bad. We are shadow and light. His work on individuation calls us to integrate our opposites, not reject them. What you suppress in yourself gains power. As Jung said, the brighter the light, the darker the shadow. Modern neuropsychology agrees. Studies show that empathy and aggression fire in overlapping brain regions, suggesting love and hate aren't enemies, but siblings. Physics shows in quantum duality that light behaves as both particle and wave. Matter has mass, but also behaves like energy. It's not either or, it's both, simultaneously. Polarity, in action. In string theory, dimensions of vibration hold opposing forces in tension. The whole fabric of the universe is built on paired contrast, whereas in thermodynamics, entropy, chaos, is always in conversation with order. Heat and cold don't exist alone. They're polar expressions of energy and motion. Even magnetism itself, north and south poles, cannot exist independently. Break a magnet and you don't get one side, you get two smaller magnets, still, with opposing poles. Polarity is not optional, it's structural. How it shows up in your life, and why you resist it. Let's get brutally honest. You've probably judged yourself for feeling too much or swinging between extremes. One day you're confident, the next you're questioning everything. One moment you're filled with purpose, the next you're drowning in doubt. This isn't brokenness, it's the law doing its job. Most people are trying to eliminate one side, but according to Hermetic wisdom, the power lies in transmuting one pole into another, not repressing, but transform it. You don't conquer fear with brute strength, you alchemize it with understanding. You don't kill doubt, you walk through it until it births clarity. The real teaching of the law of polarity is not just awareness, it's mastery. Transmutation is the secret Hermetic art of raising vibration from one pole to another. Just as a substance can be heated to rise from ice to steam, your emotions, thoughts, and circumstances can be lifted when you know how. Reframe rejection as redirection. Same event, different interpretation. Use anger as rocket fuel for justice. Same energy, different aim. See heartbreak not as the end, but as the cracking open of your heart to grow deeper. You are not at the mercy of opposites. You are the one who moves between them with wisdom. You are the alchemist. Let's clear up a spiritual myth. Balance isn't about being calm all the time. It's about knowing where you are on the spectrum and knowing you can shift. Polarity is part of the game, but integration is how you win it without fighting. Ask yourself daily, what pole am I living in today? What would the other side teach me? Can I hold both ends without rejecting either? This is where wisdom lives, not in avoiding pain or pretending to be positive 24/7, but in learning the language of life's polarity and speaking it fluently. Long before psychology had names for inner conflict or neuroscience mapped emotional processing, the ancients were already exploring the tension of opposites through ritual, symbol, and direct inner work. In the Hermetic mystery schools of Egypt and Greece, polarity wasn't seen as a problem, it was seen as a path to power. Initiates weren't told to reject one pole or cling to another, they were trained to stand between them, to become the alchemist. Here are the core practices used to embody the law of polarity, not just intellectualize it. Rooted in both ancient Egyptian initiations and later adapted by modern mystics like Louise Hay and Jungian practitioners, mirror work invites you to face yourself, literally and symbolically. Stand before a mirror, look into your own eyes, speak aloud both your light and your shadow. I see your rage, and I love you. I see your fear, and I honor you. I see your brilliance, and I claim you. This was a sacred act in temples like Luxor, where initiates faced themselves before facing the divine. They understood, you cannot integrate the cosmos until you integrate the self. In Hermetic and Eastern traditions alike, polarity meditation was used to dissolve inner conflict by recognizing that both sides are aspects of one being. You might visualize yourself sitting between two flames, one cold blue, one hot red. Breathe in one, breathe out the other. With each breath, imagine them moving closer, blending into a radiant golden light in your chest. This practice was mirrored in Taoist internal alchemy, where yin and yang energies were circulated through the body using breath and intention. The purpose: to create energetic synthesis, unity through conscious awareness of contrast. Initiates often used mantras, not just to calm the mind, but to declare polarity as holy. In Egyptian and Vedic traditions, spoken word was creative force, logos. One powerful mantra from Hermetic circles is, "This too is sacred." It's simple, but radical. Use it when you're celebrating, remind yourself not to cling. You're grieving, remind yourself not to run. Everything on the spectrum is meaningful. All experiences are vehicles of transformation. Mantra helps train the nervous system to hold discomfort without collapse. Mystery schools practiced what could be called ritual duality fasting, not just abstaining from food, but from extremes. An initiate might alternate days of total silence with days of chant and music, celibacy with sacred sexuality rituals, fasting from sensory pleasure to attune the spirit to subtler vibrations. This wasn't about self-denial. It was about developing resilience and awareness, the ability to recognize that joy and struggle, ecstasy and emptiness are all temporary states. Through fasting from the poles, initiates found the sacred middle, the ma'at, within chaos. What if your life isn't supposed to make perfect sense? What if the heartbreak and the victory, the doubt and the knowing, the falling and the rising are all sacred steps of the same dance? This is the wisdom of the Fourth Hermetic Principle. You are not this or that. You are this and that, always both, always becoming. This is where you fan the flame of what they've just felt, pulling them to go deeper, not wider. You've just tasted the paradox. You've glimpsed the tension that births clarity. But this is only one key in a set of ancient locks. When you subscribe, you'll unlock the entire Natural Laws Guide, your practical roadmap to living in rhythm with the invisible architecture of the universe. No fluff, just aligned tools, sacred insight, and timeless truths brought down to earth. Tap the subscription button now, download your guides, live in alignment, and remember, you're not here to play small, you're here to remember who you are.